Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Total Value Lock Podcast. This is your weekly source for great news analysis and thoughts about things in tech, things in AI, things in the world of on-chain finance and blockchain ecosystems. I'm your host, Chris, the DeFi professor. Got a great show lined up for you today. Got the man back. It's time to get back to digital heartland with the Nebraska boys. Got
Woo!
Logan here
Yeah.
from LF Null, fresh off a
How's it going,
fantastic
everybody?
Bitcoiner barbecue we had over the weekend.
That's
I need to
right. We
go
had a
up
great
and
barbecue.
did you end up eating your brisket leftovers already? I still have a little bit left. I'm gonna munch on after the podcast today, but
We took some of that barbecue chicken and reheated that into a separate recipe, and it was wonderful.
ooh,
Shout out to Deverick and Kelly who helped throw that because wow, great event. People brought their families out. It wasn't just a bunch of
yes,
dorks talking to each other. It was a bunch of dorks talking to each other with their kids running
with their
around.
kids. No,
And then and their significant others who joined, and it was wonderful.
I don't think that um I honestly don't think that my kids have ever played bocce ball before. So thanks for that.
Happy to spread bocce ball in addition to Bitcoin.
That's like the Bitcoin and bocce ball. That could be an interesting combination.
Honestly, you just gave me an idea for a fall event. We'll get a bunch of bocce balls with Bitcoin logos and stand with crypto logos and start hucking them around. It's a nice, easy yard game.
It
We were
is.
talking about doing pickleball, but some of us are getting up in age. I don't want to watch anyone break an ankle.
I think pickleball is actually pretty light on the body, but bocce ball
Is
is
it?
much lighter on the body.
It is. In case if you're watching and you don't know what bocce ball is, it's basically like yard bowling. You throw out a little white ball and then you throw out a larger, heavy, colorful ball and try to get it close. It's like moving horseshoes. It's a cross between moving horseshoes and bowling and
Or
croquet.
who are we talking to that was really good? Oh, Luke last week. He's good at quote unquote bags, which we know is cornhole. So I mean, it's a little different, but
Yes.
you can play both games on the same type of surface, like just like on a flat piece of AstroTurf or something like that.
Yes,
But
exactly. And bocce ball is just one of those easy yard games.
I
Let
think
me
it is.
retweet it.
I think it's a really fun time actually. I'm going to go ahead and move on to, while you do that, I'm going to move
Yeah.
on to looking at the market, because the market is actually quite interesting today.
There's
And I
some
think
happy news.
there is some happy news. Yes. And I do think that there's a couple of reasons for that. That's, what is that? I'm all like, what is that? uh, I have the wrong, my apologies. Oh, well, either way, shout out to Weimar as the reason why Bitcoin just pumped. A whole bunch of people just bought. Coinbase bought 6,000 BTC, Binance bought 4,000, an insider bought 4,000, Kraken bought 3329, OKX bought 1621, Femex bought 1,300, and Wintermute, good old Wintermute, bought 1,230. I find that quite interesting, because oftentimes we have talked a lot about, the amount of unfortunate market manipulation that seems to be available in the space. And I think that is not it either. There we go. I think that leads into, the rest of the market just looking interesting here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. But
Let's
yes,
take a look.
Bitcoin was
Yes.
on the
Yum, yum, yum.
way to 69K, nice. And it didn't quite reclaim that candle, but we are getting an interesting amount of movement here on this specific candle.
That little noise was like just too hilarious. I'm gonna spotlight it. Sorry, it was so little. It needed some light on it.
It
Anyhow,
did.
yeah, carry
It
on.
did. And it was just one of those things that it's still moving. I mean, we're probably going to close green on this day. But overall, once Bitcoin starts to go upwards, obviously the rest of the market is green as well, mainly for this reason. So if this is if this is 10 groups coming together and saying, let's all buy some Bitcoin, even though Coinbase did this 3 weeks ago and bought a metric ton of Bitcoin, it was probably here that they did it. It's interesting to see others starting to kind of get back in. Ultimately,
Guess who I talked to yesterday
who'd you talk to
on a
yesterday,
Zoom
Logan?
call?
Who's
I'm
that?
gonna give you a hint. It's almost two parts of the body. What's in here and what's right here.
Oh, you talked to Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase.
That's right. I did talk to Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, yesterday. How about them apples?
Tell me a little bit
That was
about
some
that call,
wild
if you
stuff.
don't mind. Are you if you're allowed to disclose how that call
Yeah,
went?
if I'll tell you what I can. There were some things that I probably should be careful about talking about, but I was able to talk to Brain Armstrong uh, yesterday because I am the president of Nebraska chapter for Stand with Crypto, and so it's a 501c6 that was originally created by Coinbase and Brian Armstrong. So he came in to more or less congratulate us, talk about what his outlook is for clarity and the midterms, and what the goals are for Stand with Crypto in the short to midterm are. And so he seems pretty optimistic about clarity. That was one thing that I really drew from the meeting. And it almost seemed like, and I didn't get a chance to, there was one question I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I get this sense that one way or the other, it seems like the US is going to get the regulation it wants. And that's kind of the message that I was picking up on. And I think we're going to touch on it later here
I guess we will.
in in the show. So I will kind of zip my mouth on it, but I talked to Brian Armstrong yesterday.
Shout out
That's why I
to
know.
everyone who is a bald holder, to TYBG. Thank you, Bald God. And maybe even the Brain and Brian
He does.
coins themselves.
He was smooth, and he was really candid. It was nice to chat with him. It wasn't just me. It wasn't like I had a one-on-one. There were
Right.
other presidents there, and we were all asking questions about what the outlook is. There were multiple questions about the law in the US and the regulations for Latin America, and how some of those countries are waiting for us to set the stage. But recently, the US has kind of ceded its position, actually, in being the first one to market and being the first one to regulate assets in a meaningful way. And that was something he kind of hinted at. It's like, hey, the US has sort of stepped back on this one. We need to catch up, actually. We're behind. That's another thing that he said is we are behind, and that is the one thing that's the fire under my behind when we start talking about the Stand with Crypto and the volunteering and the political advocacy side. But that's another
Trying to think.
story. I'm
Somebody
jabbering
mentioned
here.
that as well. It's like we have fallen behind, and it was a
We have
prominent person. I need to find out who that was, but I thought it was very telling that that someone of that nature was like, we're behind, and it was
Brian
someone that I
Armstrong
wasn't
also.
expecting. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sorry. And yeah, there is kind of this. I think it's on the tip of everyone's tongues. And by the way, sorry if my video quality is going bad. I don't know if we're getting bad internet weather, but it might be the potato that I'm filming us through.
No, you're
That
fine.
said,
It looks the same to me.
Brian stole one of my analogies. He said, as we're trying to get people onboarded, it's going to be a lot like water and electricity. And this is something that I've been
Hmm.
repeating over and over. So, for example, you guys probably don't all understand exactly how electron waves propagate in order to carry electricity through a wire. But you know that when you flip on the switch, the lights come on and you can see stuff. And you probably don't understand why some of the U joints in the walls are the way they do, and why you have to tilt the pipes in the wall with the water so that the air bubbles don't cause the flow to stop. You don't know how any of that works. I At least I don't. But I know that when I twist the knob, there's warm water that comes out. Thank you, divine creator. What a lovely gift. We have warm water that comes out of a little hole in our house, which is pretty sweet. I don't know how it works. And in the future, people are going to go doot, and they're going to say, "There's my money. It was really fast. I'm going to go buy something." In fact, they won't say it was really fast because it'll just be normal. And if it goes any slower like it does now, it would be considered brutally, painfully slow. You know? But he said it's going to be like that. That is the same analogy that I've like leaned on. That's how crypto looks in the future. People won't know they're using it. We are basically the plumbers and the electricians of the financial system. So when we go to be like, "Hey, we're onboarding people," it's like, well, do the plumbers and electricians onboard us? It's kind of a weird thing to think about, and
I was
maybe we
thinking
need to.
about the idea that someone's going to be upset that payments settle instantly. They're
It
being like, I thought
can
I
be a
had a
bad
couple
thing.
days. They're like, I thought I had a couple
Yeah, give
days.
me a minute to
Don't take it
breathe
out of my
here.
account. Why'd you take it out of my account 10 seconds after I said yes?
And
That's
if
what I'm
someone
waiting
gets
for.
control of your account,
Oh,
if you
that's
get
true.
hacked, then you don't want your money to move out of your account really fast. You want a slight delay on it so that
Yeah.
you have a chance to become aware and get on the horn, or drive wildly to a location to make it stop.
I
But
do
yeah,
think we'll get that
I've
at
been
some
drained
point
instantly.
because I know
A
that
delay,
ZK
a program
proofs, yeah,
delayed.
well, ZK proofs have a delay because they can settle instantly, but they do have a delay just for the purpose of having one, just in case something went wrong. So I do think we'll
Our
see more of this
digital
now that
assets too
we,
fast.
yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we wanted fast, but now it's too fast, right? So it's just like, are we have we shot ourselves in the foot? Who knows? But speaking of shooting ourselves in
Blasting
the
off
foot,
like, oh my goodness. That's a long list. Oh, are you muted or am I muted? That was really weird. Did my headphones die?
I'm muted because
Oh,
I don't know how that happened, but
that's
um,
okay. You can
yeah,
hear
I
me.
woke up
Yeah,
this
it's
morning and I was like, ugh, this is kind of crazy. But the following foods have now been recalled in the United States. Now,
Chris
some
had
of
too many mixed
these
berries for breakfast.
you're just gonna have to do a little bit of research or just go to your local grocer, in my opinion, to find out more. We have stepped up our purchase of
Excuse
farmers markets and pop-ups and stuff like that, co-ops to try and hopefully kind of get around some of this. That's the beautiful thing about being here in the Midwest is that we do have a lot of farmers who have stands and whatnot. So just to get an idea of things that have unfortunately been recalled due to issues with
Kitty.
contamination. I mean, this is a large list. Granted,
I
that
think
is
I have a
a,
comment on there somewhere
do
because
you?
I also saw that list and I was initially concerned. Sorry, my cat is meowing. Give me 2 seconds.
That's okay.
Kitty.
Hello, Kitty.
She's just being a goofball. No stress. Uh, so if you look at the average number, how big that list is on average every year,
Oh, but it's
we're
not. Yeah, go ahead.
we're actually within range. I know that it seems kind of like a big scary list, and there's been lots of news about it, and especially with RFK manhandling things in kind of heavy-handed way. To stick with that hand analogy, um,
Hmm.
it's easy to be terrified of some of this stuff, but this is actually one of the things where I'm going to take a deep breath and say, "Hey, I'm more worried about." Okay, I won't even talk about what I'm more worried about, but you get the idea. This
Yes.
is like small beans for me, and I'm going to avoid those small beans because they might make me sick. But um, yeah, I think we get about one of these a day. There's on average there's like 1.6 recalls a day, something like that. 1.3,
Which
somewhere in there.
which is kind
I
of
might
crazy if you think about it.
It's a lot.
But we,
It's
at the
stuff
same
we're not
time,
aware of.
yeah, it's more about awareness, right? Some people are just living in a
Yes.
bubble in an echo chamber, and they're like, "I'm like, guys, just kind of take a second. Don't FOMO in the grocery store, and do a little bit of visual inspection. Just make sure that everything looks fine. Stay tuned to your local news in the event that you hear that something might have some issues. Pay attention to the news for any types of recalls. They are working to keep you safe. Obviously, from a business perspective, businesses don't want to sell bad products. So, work
I'll
with
be
your
more
local
scared
business.
when this list gets small. If this
That's an
list
interesting
shrinks,
point.
it's a sign that we're not doing the monitoring that we need to do.
Hmm.
We
Well, I
should be
don't think
having this
we.
because it's the nature of food to get
It,
bacteria, and it's a dirty process.
yes. Well, let's kind of move on. I wanted
Sure.
to kind of continue the fear program. Kidding. Uh,
If you're not scared yet, just wait until you
just
see what we've
wait.
got coming next.
In the last 14 days, we've had two major crypto wallets
That is
have
terrifying,
breaches.
actually. This is
Well,
actually
what's in
scary. Be careful.
well, the SafePal one's bad because they actually knew it was reported to them via white hats several months ago, and yeah. So basically, I don't know how to. Ultimately, it's a decent swath of customer information, right? In Trezor's case, they had a downstream
Yeah,
uh, shipper release some information, whereas SafePal has
the
this was
shipping
done
laws.
at the actual company level. So they have a whole. It's interesting that you have a full review and rebuild of your order processing system with the tracking plugin back in July, back in May. So this is not stellar, but overall, the products themselves are fine. And I said this last Friday on the Beat the Banks podcast. The products themselves are fine. Has it happened before where shippers will lose things and suddenly they get hacked for data? Yes. This is not the only product this has ever happened with. So it's just like one of these things where you have to just kind of step back and take a deep breath and just know that when you are shipping things on the internet, sometimes things do get leaked. Uh, if you were that really conscious about it, I would say consider looking into getting a PO box or a private mailbox and have things start to be shipped there, because this is something that happens, and this is the reason why there are private mailbox vendors who do fairly well in business, because people want to make sure that when they buy goods from a vendor, that it doesn't go directly to their house, just for they don't want people to know where they live. That's absolutely normal. So now
It is
pile this
disturbing,
on
though,
with
that the
go ahead.
armored truck, you can get an armored truck, but all they have to do is figure out where your drop point is and wait for you to open the doors effectively. And then
Yeah.
you're subject to a wrench attack where it's like, hey, buddy, how about you just hand that over? And so it's like, oh, great. They know which apartment I'm in now, and they know I have a Trezor wallet. That's wonderful. So if there's some really weird looking guys walking around here in Nebraska with covered masks, at least I'll kind of know they're coming for me. Um, but yeah, it's not a wonderful feeling, you know. Uh, Bading,
What was that?
not giving those away. The
Oh,
Trezor wallet.
Trez wallets. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We should just
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
but be careful, just because you've got your armor on the front doesn't mean that you've got a hole in the back. And like you said, Chris, that extra physical layer of security is a real deal now, especially with the way the world is and becoming a little bit more unstable. It's good to have your security in order. Privacy is security. There's another
Well,
one-liner.
not in this case. I wanted to share this before we went forward.
Oh,
Um, I don't know if anybody saw this, but so at a Nevada traffic stop, this happened, not that long ago. Did you hear about
oh,
this? So the for
no.
so for whatever reason, the person who got pulled over, they decided to pull him over and just take out everything inside of his wallet, or in the actually was it in the car? Yeah, on the car inside there was a piece of paper where they wrote down their seed phrase, and I'm like, why
Oh,
did you
no.
have that on you? And I was just like,
Yeah,
oh no. And of course, people saw the video and the dude got drained immediately. As, yeah, people went, looked at the footage, got the seed phrase and started draining all the assets from the wallet. I don't believe it was a lot of money, but regardless, even if this was shamered, the fact that and what I may say by shamir is you take the seed phrase and divide it into 3 or 4 pieces and then put them in different places. Um, Having it all together was just not a good. That was not a good thing. It was just like, and this is why clarity needs to pass for the law enforcement education, right? We talked about this when we had the update before they possibly might have gotten it to the floor, is that there is supposed to be education for law enforcement for things like this. That this never would have happened had that education been done. So um, keep your seed phrase not on you and put it in a safe spot where you will never get it exposed during a traffic violation. So
right. It's like they have a list of all your bank passwords and logins, and they're just like, yep, 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 okay. Oh, what's the
there you
social
go.
security? Okay, there it is. Everyone got that for public record. More or less the same
Exactly.
thing, It's terrible.
Speaking of terrible, let's move on to this.
Oh,
The CFTC has resolved its cases against Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang. The punishment for the two of them, and for those of you, they were part of the executive team for FTX, is they have a 5-year trading ban on both of them. My guess is that it's retroactive. I'm just like, what in the sweet fuck is this? Like, and the funniest part, of course, the first thing I did was run to the comments because that's what we do here, right? And seeing this, like, hilarious. I can't believe
yeah.
this app is free. It's like, yeah, and
Yeah,
this
he's
gentleman
exactly doing that. Yes.
with the
That's Sam
mackerel
Bankman-Fried for
arbitrage,
those
the
of you who don't
MacPack
know.
arbitrage. That's crazy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like,
Still though, like, oh no, you have to use cash. And it's not like they got away
oh,
with billions of dollars. They did have that money clawed back. The investor money was clawed back. So it's not like they got loaded, but and she does look like a rain cloud right there. They did a good job of making her look miserable.
yeah.
So we'd feel sorry for her. And I do honestly a little bit, but not a whole lot. Just a tiny bit as trying to be a kind human. I feel bad for her.
Well,
And
the
all of them
sad part
actually.
about, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No, go please, no.
I was just
I could
saying
go
the
off the
sad
rest of
part
the night on
about this is that, private wallets are a thing, guys. They could have they probably have been trading on Hyperliquid or some of these other spots using non KYC trading spots for the last several years. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried is tweeting from prison through someone, so it's like, really,
Same with
have we
Andrew
really,
Tate
yeah, have
and
we really learned anything?
how do they tweet from prison? That's actually something that I've been kind of curious about because the suddenly forgetting her name, Elizabeth Holmes,
Elizabeth Holmes from
also
Theranos,
tweets
yeah.
from
Hmm.
prison, which is kind of interesting. And
Yeah.
she's just like scrawling like she's using some prison ink that she made out of like a ground up uniform mixed with water, and she's scrawling it onto some toilet paper, which she then passes on to like her roommate named Blade, and then Blade gets it out of the window to somebody.
Blade.
I kind of imagine that. Yeah, Blade gets the tweets out, in
Bla-
exchange for a cigarette.
uh, I
So I'm just
my guess
curious
is
to
they
know
have
how.
regular. I mean, for some of these people, they're not in high security spots, right? There is a
No,
chance
they're
that
they're in
she's
premium prison.
yeah in the white collar prison, right? And they have the ability to have regular guests who come in daily and probably just kind of sit there with a recording device and say what they want to say,
Yeah,
or in some
they only have
cases
Netflix.
they may have AI actually writing the tweets out, right? Just talking about things like that. It's like write this in the voice of so and so. That happens all the time
Hmm,
now. So, but still,
I
to
don't know.
only give them a 5-year trading ban, that's ridiculous. Yeah, not even. And yet we have people who are in life for prison for marijuana
Right?
and
Or
mushrooms.
privacy token creators who are in jail
Yeah,
because they made some code. And
yeah,
then
like the
we can
samurai
start talking about
devs.
the other crimes that, yeah, the samurai devs. We've got,
Hmm.
uh, the tornado cache. But there's multiple protocols where, oh, I just made some code and now the US government's putting me in jail because, as it turns out, you're not allowed to communicate privately in the US. You're not allowed to communicate
Exactly.
privately. You're not allowed to share money privately. And if you do that, the US is going to come get you. I know because I lived abroad for a long time. And if you have more than $10,000 in a foreign bank account, you have to disclose it to the United States or you can suffer severe punishments. Let me say that
Yeah,
again.
nobody
If
wants
you have
that.
a foreign bank account with more than $10,000, which is not a lot of money, for if you're living abroad. And I at one point I had more than 10K in there. It was just pretty sweet. But the US needed me to report that.
Well,
My
technically, you're
Japanese bank has
U.S.
more than
Yeah.
10K in it. None of your business, America. Sorry, but that's the level of invasive privacy. You have
Well,
to
Uncle
give up
Sam
your
wants to
citizenship.
tax you, right? They want to tax you for everything that you have.
And even if you live in a foreign country, and I think the US is one of two or three countries in the world where even if you live outside of it, they can still tax you. You could go live on the moon and you would still have to file a form 2555 because that's what I filed. And you have to if you make over a certain amount of money, they will double tax you. Japan will tax you and the US will
Yep.
tax you if you make enough money.
Or depending on which
That feels
state you
like
live in
taxation
the
without
U.S., you will get double
everything.
taxed for multiple things.
Fun, fun, fun.
I remember when
I
I
don't
was
think we're
working
supposed to
for a
talk about
company in
taxes.
Iowa and I had to pay Iowa
Mm.
and Nebraska and federal taxes. That was the joy of my life, let me tell you guys.
Funny story, where I got this shirt from, it's not actually a Bitcoin shirt. It's and I almost don't
why
say
is the
this.
why why is it that why is Bitcoin in the middle of it if it's tough?
Well, it was at a Bitcoin event, but they were trying to tell
No,
me
I
that
know.
you don't actually legally have to pay any taxes federally, and it was really an interesting shtick. They had
None
an
of this is
entire booth.
financial advice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, just run. I'm radioactive. I'm glowing. The shirt is actually.
Hilarious.
So don't go to that website. But it's really. Oh, we got a comment. Sweet.
We do. I just want to
Hello.
say hi to
He's
Suzanne. Suzanne, good to see you. Hopefully everything is well. If you want to comment and say hello and tell us your thoughts
that
on
was
what you're hearing
cool.
so far, feel free to do so. Whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, that's this widget is for that. I did want to say a special hello to everybody in the arena.social on the Avalanche blockchain. Shout out to you guys. Go buy some perps. Go trade my tickets if you feel like it. And last week, Logan, I forgot to tell you, we got a lovely tip on the arena from someone who found great value in what we were talking about. So thank you to them specifically. That was to Colin. Thank you, Colin, for that. That was very kind of you.
Thanks, Colin.
It will be used to make sure we have enough money for Logan when he eventually does get thrown into the kids jail at Harris Casino.
Hopefully
for
they
doing
they
bad
let me
things.
still do podcasts from jail, and I'm in one of those comfy ones.
Exactly.
That tells
Exactly.
me I'm gonna actually I'll be like doing my podcast with Blade on the top bunk.
With Blade. Well, or yeah, that would be kind of cool. But you could, what you know, if that happens and you put it on either TikTok, Instagram, or X, you can actually see how well it does now. Little segue. Shout out to
I heard
Leon Abood
about
for
that
this
nice
one.
one.
Yes, that was a nice little.
Transition.
Was that not a? That was a nice little
That was
segue,
that
right?
was
Clap for
buttery.
TDP.
That was buttery,
Clap.
guys.
uh, so this is interesting, and this is something I just wanted to put out there for anyone who wants to try and figure out how is my social media presence going. Um, because this can be helpful. The social media can absolutely be a passive income uh, source for you, even though it's quite the
Yeah,
active one. But what you can do is you can let me just look at the let's look at the post here.
that's
Is that you
intense.
can and I don't know, some people may not want to do this, by the way, and that's totally up to you. But if you
I'm gonna
want to know how you're
play devil's
doing,
advocate on this one.
yeah,
Go
you want to
on.
go to the search console here and then connect your social media accounts and then wait 48 hours for Google to process your data. And what they'll do is they'll give you some interesting information about uh, what's going on. And with that said, I mean, it's not like your content isn't being tracked on Google anyway. So if you want to get an actual dashboard across multiple social media to see how it's working, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, X, or YouTube, this could be a very interesting way to do so. I'm going to actually connect all of mine because I want to know exactly if there's a piece of
I'm
content that's
curious
getting.
how that
Yeah,
works for you, Chris.
I am too. So we'll do this, and then
Gotta share with
we'll yeah, well, I'll share. We'll kind of go back and forth to see how it's going. Um,
Sweet. Something to look forward to. Because I don't want to
yes,
plug my information in and I have a reason for it, but then I also have a counter to my own reason.
right,
So my first thought is, okay, it's free. You're the product. Google isn't interested in giving you any feedback or tracking, giving you performance. They
exactly,
want your data. They're eating you. They're like little vampire squids that sink their teeth into every single metric they can. They want your Twitter data because Elon doesn't want to give it to them, right? So that you're
right,
volunteering to give it to them, and at a certain point they become like the super media where suddenly if you don't have a Google account, it's like not having a phone or not having a bank account. It's like you can't get a job unless you give us your Google media plugin number, and it's like, oh great, are we building a dystopia here again? How many dystopias do we need? And so that's the little devil or angel on my shoulder that is screaming at me here like, do not touch, back away slowly, don't keep your eyes on it. And so a little bit setting off bells and whistles there, but there's another tech side of me that says, ooh la 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 la. Because back in
Ex-
2020, I thought we need a way to make a digital identity. What if there was a way to get all of your internet activity and combine it so that it created a unique digital footprint that nobody could mimic? No one can mimic my search history and the way I go from website to website and how much time I spend on those websites and the things I search for, the very specific things that, maybe the stuff we don't want people to know about. I've got a really bad rash on my backside. How do I cure it? No one else is Googling about my rash. Oh, okay, idea. Anyhow, if you took all of that data, you could make a unique fingerprint for people and you would have a unique form of ID, something where you don't need a password and you cannot copy my past 7 days of internet browsing history. Good luck. You're gonna need a really nice AI bot to make it really who I am. So I think there's potential for a technological identity key here, which I've been fantasizing about for years, and it looks like someone at Google uh, is pulling the thoughts out of my head. I need to get my tinfoil hat back on.
Well, no, that's an interesting point you said that because if there's one thing that Google and X have been working on, it's synth ID or like some type of watermark, right? So, and I talked about this on the on the On-Chain Media Community X Space, which is today at 5 p.m. Eastern, by the way, if you want to check
Today
that
at
out
5 p.m.
and help celebrate 2 years of On-Chain Media. Um,
Woohoo.
So, and it comes back to this because the way I look at this is a creator tool, much like this tweet from Gary Vee that I referenced, I think it was probably last week, is that the content that you put out on YouTube Shorts is feeding the Gemini LLM, which is going to allow your product to show up in AI search. The content you make today on Shorts, this is both short and long form video, by the way, will protect you in 24 months as you start to show up on generic AI results. So, with that said, with the watermarking, the digital identity, and tracking your data and how your progress is going on here, you can get a decent 360-degree view. And hopefully, if you're doing something like building a personal brand, like myself and Logan have been doing for quite some time, you're in a situation where you'll be able to differentiate yourself from other people through generic AI search, stuff like that. For someone like me who's a content creator and building a personal brand, this is actually quite big. And that's the main reason why I'm going to look to get into it. Now, with that said, the privacy part sucks, right? Because even though we're in Web3, we don't own any of this data. So until we can figure out a way to download some of this data, I'm sure Google, after they make their money, will be like, yeah, if you want to do Google takeout on your data, we're happy to give that to you. And what you can do with it then is then hopefully be able to host that data, self-host it, and then eventually, down the line, license it back out to companies once that switch is flipped. But until then, because I don't have a way to track all of my traffic across these platforms, you're going to have to work with some of this type of stuff to do that. But keeping that in mind with what Gary Vee also said, if you're a content creator, this is probably a pretty big unlock for you to at least figure out what you are and you're not doing right. Because if there's one thing, if you're being consistent, you want to make sure that you're driving in the right direction, even if it's just 1% being better every single day, right? This can
That's a
give
good
you a little
secret.
bit of insight into that. A little bit of
Yeah.
tinkering, and I'm a
Get
tinkering
get
fan.
a step ahead of everyone else.
I hope so, and I hope
Early bird
anyone
gets
who
the
sees
worm.
this part understands that, because we're not trying to gatekeep anything. We want everyone to succeed.
I think
Founders who
Chris is
help other
providing
founders is
value.
good.
He just served you like on a silver plate, like a ton of value. I'm gonna clap for that. I'm clapping for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
If you found that, please, we would appreciate a nice like, either a follow, sending it to someone else. We apparently views on YouTube are different now. So I'm like, interesting, but yeah, please, it just helps us out a lot. Please, if you could please like and follow or subscribe, whichever platform you're watching on, whether it's on the Arena, whether it's on Twitch, YouTube, X, whatever is out there. One thing I'll also cover that could be leading, another reason why Bitcoin is rising, is the fact that we are now at the highest bond rate in a very long time for the U.S. 30-year T-bill. So, yeah, 5.27 is where, and I think it's higher now, and it's the highest level since 2007. That's a ridiculously large number.
Hold on. Since when?
Since 2007. Oh no.
What happened back in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010? I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
think back on that time. A lot has happened since then. Oh
Unfortunately.
God. Yeah. Oh, it was the cat. Was it the catastrophe before the catastrophe, or was it the one before that?
Oh, it would be
But
the, it
yeah,
would be
that's
the,
Lehman
yeah,
shocky.
yeah, 2008. Yeah.
That's Lehman shocky. I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Hopefully, not all of you remember that as painfully as I do. That was a really rough time for me. I just graduated college, and it kind of took the legs out from under me, economically and socioeconomically, I think is the right word for it. And this is really troubling. But honestly, I'm not much of a bonds guy. I don't know what to make of this. Heads or tails? Chris, do you know more about it than I do?
Well, you
I
want
think
the
you
bond
might.
rate to be stable, but not to spike in the way that it has, right? Because that's the reason why the Bank of Japan also in a state of a little bit of shock, because the bond rate continuing to rise. And even though I've been parroting this for 2 years, Japan not strangely, has been the linchpin for a lot of global finance because of the zero, the yen carry trade, to be able to take that, and even though a lot of things have been unwound already from that, the fact that Japan's currency continues to rise is not what we want when it comes to stuff like this, especially if there are a lot of sovereign nations, a lot of different groups involved in the yen carry trade, because the yen used to be a really cheap way to invest and then borrow money, because they allowed these loans at very small amounts, very small rates rather. So,
My
um,
friends in Japan are giving me feedback right now. If you've ever wanted to visit, now's a great time. If you go look at the
yeah.
dollar to yen exchange rate, it's looking pretty good for the tourist. Just not great for the world economy. But hey, what when it's raining, go dance in it. Something like that.
Well, the other thing too is that the U.S. has been sending liquidity into Japan, because Japan's been selling T-bills to help pay for this stuff. And Japan, like like China, largest holders of U.S. debt. And when they start selling that debt in order to get more liquidity into their economy, that's not a good thing. So we're going to be seeing some interesting moves here in the next, let's just call it 60 days, because right now there's a lot of things happening, a lot of private conversations being had across different back channels. People don't really know that the U.S. has been intervening into the yen very much, but it's very apparent that they have been. They've been injecting liquidity pretty often. This is something that Chairman Powell did before he left office. He was doing a lot of injection, because they did have something a couple of years ago called the BTFP, which is it's a way for banks to borrow from the Fed at par. The problem is that the Fed's not made to hold loans like that. So now they have a ton of money on the balance sheet that they'll be holding as debt for a very long time, which is not something the Fed has always done. So we'll see exactly how this all plays out. But this is the unspoken part with all the geopolitical issues that are happening. I've been keeping an eye very closely on this part, because this part's going to be the most interesting development in how the U.S. is going to move geopolitically for the next 6 to 12 months, well past the midterms, especially, well, regardless of what happens in the midterms, this will still continue to be an interesting spot to look at. And oftentimes, when you see a lot of chaos, it's about understanding the places to look to see what happens next. If you guys don't know, this is one that I would keep a close eye on, because this will dictate how multiple people, multiple countries, multiple NGOs, and multiple big whale accounts possibly move. Not saying any that they're going to, because not financial advice, do your own research. But just kind of watch to see what happens in this space for a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on to the one thing we wanted to talk about, which is Crypto Mom, the Honorable Hester Pierce,
Oh,
put out
sweet
a
Heskers.
sweet Hester Pierce. So Crypto Mom put out this regulation for crypto assets. Now, what we don't have is that this is just a proposal. It's not law. It's the idea that would help create a little bit of an on-ramp for specifically new businesses with regards to what can they do to help really just for how crypto will be seen as a security or not a security for the next couple of years. So it is a proposal that follows the springtime interpretation that they put out quite a few months ago. Paul Atkins, by the way, always in favor of DeFi, believes that self-custody is extremely important, which is why we do like when they put out stuff like this. The idea here is just to give a decent framework. Again, this is outside of clarity. This is being proposed by both the SEC and the CFTC, regardless of what happens with the Clarity Act's passing. This is going to be out there. Okay? Now, if a new administration comes in 2 years and they have the ability to change all of this, obviously, with a different SEC chair, It all just depends on on how this all gets carried out. And that's the a lot of people are curious about the Howey test, right? Is it a security or is it not a security
Yeah.
with regards uh, to startups? So there are multiple things here inside of this, and we don't have the actual proposal here. But here are the two things that are very interesting, specifically about what's happening. And there are four main pieces to this piece of legislation. The first, there is a one-time non-exclusive exemption for startups from the Securities Act registration. It also gives them up to, I think according to this, up to $5 million for a 4-year period for offerings. Excuse me. And this is about raising.
You can get your token going. You can raise a little
Yep.
money to get your token started, and then what?
So this is the interesting
Second
part.
exemption.
Exactly. There's a fundraising exemption, right? And it depends on how things are worked out with the vetting. There's two tiers, one up to 20 million in any 12-month period. There's up to 75 million on tier 2. The thing here is, and this is what's the interesting part to me, is that this is all tied on the ability for a team to deliver. So if you actually deliver and get to the point where things work out with whatever you're putting out there as a startup, you will get a safe harbor from the term investment contracts and the definitions of security from the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. So as long as you can actually raise money and then bring your product to market and actually get it going, you will actually get this safe harbor, which I think is actually quite interesting.
Hold on. Is this common sense and reasonable?
I mean,
It can't be. We must be dreaming right now. You
we
can't
must
just do
be.
reasonable things anymore. This is insane.
Exactly. So the other part too is if they're
This is
able to
actually kind of
deliver.
good. This is a step in the right direction. This is a
I
step in
think
the right
so.
direction. I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
there's going to be
because we had,
number adjustments and things
yeah,
like that, but
one
it
thing I will
prevents the
state
bad
that,
actors.
and that's the thing, right? So the thing that's interesting about this is that they're putting this out there. They're having a public comment period for 60 days. So they want groups to go in, create startups, do what you need to do after and give some comments within the first 60 days, so that they can kind of figure out, all right, what are the things we need to work on? What doesn't work? What is working? Maybe something else they didn't think of. Maybe there's some exceptions. And there's always an exception in this business with what can and can't be done.
It's better than regulation through enforcement, which is what the
Agreed.
Gary Gensler campaign did, and it just seemed like it drove business out of the U.S. even further. And I
Exactly.
don't know. It did not help. It didn't serve anyone. They ended up creating the third largest investor loss in history when they went herky jerky with Ripple and XRP. And so they actually should have been self prosecuting at that point for
Mm-hmm.
doing the thing that they're supposed to be stopping, which is sort of
Right.
hilarious. It's like a fire department that is run by arsonists.
Or they're just looking to go after anybody who knows how to start a fire. Right. That's
Right?
the way I look at it. And that's what happened under Gensler, right? Sushi, Uniswap, all these other groups got hit with all these SEC Walsh alerts. Is that right? I think it's the name. The wall.
I believe that's it. Oh man,
Yeah.
we're getting
But
deeper. Yeah.
yeah, they got hit with these because there was an idea that because of them being able to quote unquote start a fire, that they were going to be a bad actor. And that's the unfortunate part. Like you said, enforcement through prosecution and in an
Regulation through
aggressive way,
enforcement.
regulation
Yeah,
by
yeah,
enforcement.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
We got it. One of those words.
We got there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
But I
we
think what's
found it.
great is that they have exemptions here. So it's like if you can show to us that you are a good company or have the right intentions to help serve the United States, to help become the leader in crypto in the world, they'll give you the exceptions necessary to take you out of the security conversation. Now, pair this with the rumor that President Trump is going to EO zero or very low business taxes for US based crypto companies. And you start seeing companies start to come back into the United States specifically for that. Nexo came back, Algorand's come back from Singapore even to come back into the US. So we're seeing, I think this is all going to just try and all come together to create a really good environment for helping the United States become, I guess, the American dream for crypto companies, right? Having all the tools, all the tax incentives, the economic advantages of being here in the United States and having a crypto or digital asset fintech facing company that uses blockchain rails. That's the hope, right? Because we've been doing a lot of work on the back end of this. And if nothing happens, at least hopefully we have this. And this is going to be good. This will then bleed over into CFTC regulation, who currently has the current, I guess, overall authority for anything that happens in DeFi, in blockchain, and on chain.
And
So
then
we'll see
there's the
exactly how this rolls
FATF
out.
that will
Hmm.
maybe come into play later. The Financial Action Task Force, I
Yes.
think is what it is. I
Yeah,
remember running into
there's like
those
four of
guys in
them.
2020. Yeah, and so there's in this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the show when we were talking to Brian Armstrong on the call. Regulation and rules are going to come one way or the other. And so, rain or shine or snow or tornado, we are going to start making some regulations with the SEC and the and it might be a little less sturdy. You know, the other administrations can come in, or we're going to get clarity, and it'll be a lot harder to back out of. But one way or the other, we're going to start seeing some forward progress because I think even among the holdouts, you know, we've got 7 to 9 people that need to flip for clarity to really happen. But even none of the Democrats are voting for this. It has become somewhat. It's not a partisan issue on the ground, but it is up in DC, and there's other things at play. But one way or the other, we are going to win, and we're going to catch back up with the rest of the world and get hopefully leapfrog them here. We've just got, you know, everything's been politicized a little bit, and it seems like Congress is unable to really move much along at all. And so, you know, it's not just crypto. The whole system's got some gunk in it. And so, one way or the other, we're going to get our rights, and I'll keep standing for
I
them.
hope so. Same here.
Mm.
You and I both.
Yes, you will. We will.
So today there is a crypto summit being held at the White House. This was rumored over the weekend. It actually is happening today, and it's going to start at starting in under half an hour. Is President Trump will be talking with the press pool, I think, in the next hour and a half. Uh, but the guest list specifically for there's more than just this. There's about 30 different leaders that are there from
But look
multiple
at that
groups.
list.
I
Gee, many
know.
cricket.
Can we name how many of these companies have Trump family as board members? That that's a cute little game for bingo if you want to do that. Um,
Oh, no.
but oh, and I forgot to even talk about the one thing that well, I'll pull it up in just a minute. Uh, you talked about just what would possibly help or hurt this. Um, Let me pull it up because I want to get your opinion on this. Because to
Okay.
me, I think it's actually hurting the process. Let me get it so I have it because there's been a couple of things. Um,
Crypto has a lot of double-edged swords fighting for it,
they
unfortunately.
do, and I'll actually just pull up because I did the search. Actually, you know what? Let's just pull up this one because to me this is the most important part of it. And we've talked about this for several months. World Liberty Financial went ahead
Yeah.
and applied for an OCC licensorship. Is that the word? An OCC license to become a national charter
Licensure.
bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Worcestershire sauce, right? Licensure.
We're
Uh,
licensure. Licensure.
exactly. So We were talking about this on our community call on Friday, and I was the question was is like, is USD1 going to be a good stable coin? It's kind of a muddy question because I think a lot of it is going to be tied back to the president. And again, we've talked about this ad nauseum for the last 6, 7 months. The president is going to put everything he has legally into everything it needs to. So when people talk about ethics and all that, guys, the blind trust, all that stuff, it's already there. It's been there for a long time. There are so many shell companies that you guys don't realize that are linked to the thing that controls all of this. That aren't named Trump, by the way. There's quite a few that aren't. And you would think the man that has a legal army of lawyers to help contest everything and sue the hell out of everybody would have all of this correctly buttoned up, which he does. They're not going to touch this man because he has everything exactly where it needs to be. So yes, they went ahead and applied for a OCC bank license. Why? Because they have a stable coin they want to use as currency. And in order to be Genius compliant, they have to, if they're not already Genius compliant, this will definitely get them Genius compliant. Well, interestingly enough, they got approved. So they can directly issue their 4 billion. How they got 4 billion? Well, I know how they got 4 billion, but regardless, this is a little misleading
That's
with
my
the
money.
approval. It's a little misleading there, but what's interesting is Austin Campbell's. And shout out to Jason McCullough. This guy I've followed for a long time, specifically about how the system for fintech and DeFi broke because of one specific broker that served everybody. So when you could have your check be automatically deposited into some of these on ramps, it was handled by one company, and he covered this beautifully. Anyway, regardless, if you read his tweet, this is the reason why people wanted the ethics piece, okay? If you guys are curious, it's not because the president owns crypto. Shit, everyone owns crypto. JD Vance, Vice President JD Vance, owns a ton of crypto. So
My
does half
dog
of
has
Congress.
crypto.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My cat does not, but
Eh.
regardless, it's not going away. But the problem is that when you have the president of the United States have his own, well, let's be very, there's a lot of, his own is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. The trust company, the
It's
Trump Media
his
Technology
though.
Company.
Let's
Well,
call a spade a spade. The dude owns the thing, and regardless of whether or not he's done the legal kung fu,
yeah,
we all
the
get it.
optics are
Like, just
awful.
because you put a corporate entity in front of it doesn't mean that it's not you. I have an LLC, but let's be frank, it's me. And we need to quit treating corporate entities like there's some untouchable adamantium shield and be like, hey, this guy's got his hand on crypto. I don't care if we're gonna, do the legalese game. I prefer reality, but it is his. His family's running it. He benefits from it in, I would say, directly. Even though but it's all the rich guy mumbo jumbo stuff like that the us poors don't have proper access to because we don't have the army of lawyers. Though I'm aware of what they do. I could put my LLC owned by a trust, and then I could start doing some real wild stuff. But we'll save that one for another uh, episode. We should talk about CEO maxing because I think you should all be
Yeah.
CEOs, and it's really easy, and there's an entire conversation to be had around it. Done. Scene.
So there is some other chatter that I'm not going to pull up here
Okay.
from the head of World Liberty. He's a Witkoff. That's all you need to know. And he makes this one specific argument. Because they have the OCC license, they now are facing more regulatory scrutiny, which is most likely probably true. It's true.
Probably. You would
Yeah,
expect
because
that.
they're in the same room as Circle, Paxos, Ripple, Coinbase, not yet PayPal,
We have to
but some
assume the
other groups.
rules apply the same.
Yeah, that
Be
they
like,
all
yep, we're
have
going to
to do
check
the
you up
same
and down,
rules.
left and right. Now do a backflip. walk in a straight line. Okay, you're a real company. You got a real coin there. That's good.
So now I'm
I would
just
say that's
wondering,
good.
Does Elizabeth Warren go on a rampage?
Oh gosh,
Because
and
she
would she be
represents
justified?
she's I mean her pockets are lined by the bank lobby. Let's be honest.
And yeah, actually, they totally are. She is big
Yeah,
bank darling number one,
absolutely. Guess who's a big
central
bank
banking
now?
cartel queen.
The
Yeah, right.
cartel just got out
She's like,
cartelled.
and actually, yeah. So is she gonna start doing? She's gonna be like, actually, I love crypto so much. We should all get a CBDC. I'm Liz Warren.
Well, they're not going to do that. But
She doesn't talk like that. And
regardless,
actually, I don't want to like dog Liz Warren too hard. But
yeah,
on this one, she does deserve it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it as a crypto
it's just kind
bro.
of crazy that this is all. I was just like, I have no idea how USD1's going to do because they're really just on 3 chains. And now that they have this, now that they have this is a big difference because they have market cap. Strangely, they do have market cap. They're here. Let's pull them up. Right there. They're the 20th largest digital asset by market cap at nearly 4 billion. They're doing wow, what happened to USDE? Interesting. Um it's not like they're some nobody stablecoin. I mean, their stablecoin
That's huge. I didn't know
is
they were that high up
huge.
on the
Yeah,
rank. That's a little bit disturbing in a way. Like they kind of came out of nowhere in my mind.
fair. No, then
I
these
mean,
are
I
the
knew it
questions you have to
existed. Like,
ask, right?
yeah, this is yeah. What they've got the weight of the U.S. president behind them. It's a bit of an unfair advantage compared to the other projects. I
I
mean, I
mean,
wish
it's
I had
done
the
way
U.S.
better
president behind
than
my project.
I mean, it's done way better than Trump Stakes, Trump University, Trump Gold, and Trump watches, Trump phone. It's totally stopped the Trump phone, Trump
Oh my
mobile, right?
goodness, is that? Yeah, I think did they actually ship some out?
They
I
did,
think they
they
finally
did.
did ship it. I don't think that they were very. I think they said rump or something on them. It's kind of
No,
embarrassing.
they're fine. They're just not the most. They're just not the best.
That's too bad.
Um, yeah, it's unfortunate, but
We're number
regardless,
one. Yep, we're number one. Just I'm just gonna say we're number one. Okay.
we're number
Ah,
one.
that's my mantra. We're number one. We're number one. That's how I go to sleep every night.
you have
That's
you have 4 gratitude things that you say some platitudes, and the last one is I'm number one.
we're
When
number
in doubt,
one.
refer to
America's number one.
number two.
We're the biggest.
Huge. You're huge.
Huge. We're huge.
Goodness.
Well, we
Goodness
got some good
gracious. Well,
news in there today. That's wonderful. We've been having a lot of like cloudy days recently, in the markets, and it's nice to at least see some sparkles and a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel on some of this stuff. That made my day. Thanks, Chris.
you're welcome. We'll end with this story today as it applies to decentralized finance. And that is, did you know that Wyoming
That's
has a state
awesome.
stablecoin?
I didn't actually. I
Yep.
only recently learned about it. I knew that Nebraska had approved something, though it's technically a private stablecoin, but this is a true blue
Yep.
American state issued, state owned, state run stablecoin, if I understand it
hmm
correctly.
At one
That is
point,
mind
it
blowing.
was on Avalanche. At one point, it was on Avalanche. I think it's now on Tezos, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check and just double check on that. But uh, for the Rails, they have abandoned Layer Zero after a thorough review of security. They did not feel that Layer Zero was up to snuff as compared to
Ooh.
Chainlink with CCIP. Um,
That's a glowing endorsement of Chainlink. That says a
yeah,
lot about
that's
they've been
we could
around a hot
certainly
minute.
talk about that.
But yeah, it also says a lot about Layer Zero.
Yeah, this is
Ooh,
bad for Layer
tread
Zero
lightly. Yeah, that's very,
because
very bad. Not all news is good news, or not all
it would
publicity
be
is good
one thing,
publicity.
right?
It's not a good one.
It would be one thing if
Ooh,
this was just like a smaller deal. And of course, Zach Ryan's Chainlink God is going to actually talk about this. Um, It'd be one thing if this was just like, a prominent project, maybe, an altcoin of some sort. This is a state stable coin saying that after doing the due diligence, that layer zero is inadequate and they are moving to a much larger and stronger competitor in the arms of Chainlink, in the arms of a Chainlink, as
In the arms of a chain link.
I just didn't want to get copyright struck.
Oh no, God! I hope I was off key enough that we should be all right.
Yeah, I think you're fine. If I had sung it, we'd be toast.
Chris
Um,
is got the voice of a cherub, just in case
that
any of
No,
you
I have the
didn't know.
body of a cherub. I wouldn't say that I have a voice of one, but regardless, this is not good for Layer Zero. Now, I've seen very little chatter outside of the stands for Layer Zero. The majority are like, "Damn, that's more like the Friday meme, like, damn." With regards to
It's
what
yes.
they've said here, but this is not good for Layer Zero. Hopefully, Zero can come back with the things they've been looking at, specifically with their very fast Jolt system for zero knowledge proofs and being able to move things between ecosystems using Layer Zero's bridges at light speed. And hopefully, they can
There
do
were
it in a
some
way that,
fundamental security flaws,
yeah, and it's
apparently.
hopefully they can get past this because I am a
Yeah,
fan of the tech. Always have been. With
I've used it.
regards of how you use it. Yeah, I've used it quite a
Yeah, I've
few
used
times.
that bridge. It was wonderful.
Yeah,
I got,
Stargate's fine.
and I never got drained from that.
Nope,
But at the
nope, and
same
and
time, we're in this world where new vulnerabilities are coming out for lunch, breakfast, and dinner, with not in that order.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that it's just like, man, another one bites the dust here. And what we're gonna be left with, though, this is like evolution in a weird way. Like all of the weak protocols, all of the weak bridges, which have always been a terrible honeypot vulnerability, all of them are going to get annihilated. We're gonna like 90. If I'd be, it's gonna be terrible because people get uh, their coins and their wallets are gonna go to zero. But at the end of the day, the tech that's left over is gonna be the cockroach of protocols that you can't crush, you can't step on it, and they reproduces. Maybe a lighter, prettier metaphor would be good, but the idea is we're going to be left with the toughest digital security. We can't even imagine how tight it's going to be. There'll be a day where we stop hearing all this news of exploits because everything will that can be exploited will have been exploited, and there will only be a couple titans left standing, and we will get re-centralized and be like, there'll be a new banking system. We're rebuilding it. We're not getting rid of it. We're just reimagining it. And that might be kind of, some people are probably like, "Ugh," right now, after hearing me say that, and certainly I am doing it to myself. And after we get off video, I'll self punish. Don't worry. But it's we need to ask ourselves, what are we building here, guys? Look, what are we hammering on? Make sure you're not ushering in the just banking 2.0.
And see, that's the other part too, right? We want groups like Layer Zero to do well. We want
Mm,
competition because
yes.
competition breeds better products. I don't think Chainlink, I don't think Pith, Redstone, all these other groups end up doing as well as they do without the proper motivation of seeing each other succeed. And I hope that Layer Zero, like I said, can find a way to overcome the adversity and continue doing what they do because what they do is very much needed. Not just for the idea of just having cross chain bridges, but cross chain liquidity. And there's still a lot of different protocols that rely on Stargate. They rely on, well, if anything, the Avalanche, well, not specifically the Avalanche blockchain, but there are multiple blockchains that rely on, uh, you know, Hydra and the other tech that's underneath the messaging that goes in with what Layer Zero has built. So hopefully they can overcome. Hopefully they can come back stronger and better, honestly, with better products that can keep moving the needle. Because that's the one thing that we're going to need. better products that move the needle, and then on the other side, better awareness, better education, better demos to help obfuscate and just abstract all of the layers of complexity away from the end user. As you said at the beginning of the show, we don't want anyone to know what this stuff really runs. I mean, we obviously do want people to know what it runs on, but we don't need people to know exactly on what it runs on because most of them, frankly, don't care. They just have a card, they want to tap it, they want to swipe it, they want to insert it, and they just want to know that what they have worked so hard for is safe and is able to be spent for goods and services in a meaningful way to keep the economies of the world going. That said, I want to thank Logan for being here. LF Null. Let's pull
Good to
up
be
the
here,
tweeter
Chris. Oh, thank you.
for what you're working on now. Feel free to plug what you'd like, sir.
Yeah, I am working on a new type of mouse. As you can see in the image there, it doesn't look like your normal desk potato. It's right here. And so the future, it has more control. All you got to do is let go of the controller. And it will follow your finger and thumb around. And because I improved the ergonomics, the function improved too. More headshots, better artwork, better drone flying. I haven't done any telesurgery with it yet, but something tells me that's going to get a little bit better too. Just throw me like 9 figures and I'll sell you the IP. No biggie. I'm
What's
also
even
looking
better about that is
for help.
yeah, you're looking for help,
Mhm.
but you're also working with a specific group of people. Tell people about that.
I am. I am currently talking to Regiment Gaming and some of the local people here in Nebraska. They are a military gaming guild, and some of them have assistive needs. So, for example, I myself have really terrible chronic tendonitis in my thumbs, which is why I invented this thing, is because sometimes it hurts to grasp. So I made a
I also have that
graspless
problem.
mouse, and some of them folks in the military service, they need more help than I do, and they'd love to get their games back. Having games taken away from you is one of the most devastating things that can happen to a person. I know it doesn't sound like much. It's like, oh, well, Logan, what about losing a loved one? It's like games are a loved one for me. It's like half of who I am. If I'm not playing games, I'm not living. No games, no life. And particularly for a lot of these vets, it's how they cope with some of the things that they've actually been through. There are studies about how video games have helped uh, people deal with PTSD after violent conflicts, and games have been shown to actually reduce violence in the population, which is really, really fascinating. And so I'm really trying to help out this assistive community. I'm not just in it for money here. I'm a lifetime gamer. I'm disabled myself, and I want to make life better. And I think that every product and company should do that first and foremost. So I'm trying to make something that's better than the mouse. You look at cars, phones, all that fun stuff, it has changed over the past 60 years. This is the same design from 60 years ago. This is 60 years old, you guys. It's time to throw it away. I shouldn't have done
No
that.
good. Don't throw that.
Yeah, don't throw your mouse. It's not nice.
If anything, I think you should also market chair game pads. I think it's fascinating that you actually have it here on your armrest. Like, did you do that yourself, or did you just happen to buy it?
No, I wish I had not purchased this from Amazon from some
So they do
Chinese
make those.
manufacturer. Yeah, they're cheap too. They're wonderful. So I also have a keyboard that I like to have so I can sit really far away from the computer. You guys can all see me doing gestures and things, and I still, can do my control from back here. I change
That's what I
positions a
need.
lot.
I need one of those things on my armrest. So that's interesting.
Freedom of movement.
Freedom of movement.
Freedom. Everyone say freedom. Wherever you are right now, drop what you're doing and go, freedom. It feels really good.
Hilarious.
Let's try it.
Hilarious. Thanks again for being here, Logan, as you have been pretty often for the last couple of months. Really appreciate you being here.
I've been a
And
little bit
again,
of a
really
regular,
excited.
and I'm loving it. Always good to talk to Chris, the DeFi professor. I get smarter every time.
Oh, thank you very much. I did want to stop on this, and just because I'm a big fan of tech, I'm a huge tech head. I always have the secret desire to make product review videos, but I never do because I need people to send me stuff. But at some point, this is something I wanted to share because something that I struggle with, and myself being, a father of three girls and having pets, and, people always pulling me in different directions for things, is being in a flow state. So something that I saw, voice break, something that I saw that was interesting. Um, a neuroscientist has looked at AirPods Pro 2s, and I've actually considered going to go get some threes with the active noise cancellation. But if he's found that if you take a pair of AirPods, turn off the ANC, the active noise cancellation, and then add brown noise at 40% volume, conversation awareness off, which, believe me, you want that off, creates the fastest path to flow state that the
Interesting.
scientist has ever measured in a consumer device in 4 minutes. And for those who don't understand flow state, just from and myself being an IT vet for 20 plus years, when you're working, if something goes to actually throw you off of your flow state, like if you're in it, you're just heads down, just locked in doing something, it can take up to 45 minutes for you to get back in. Even if it's like a bathroom break, even if it's like someone coming down and asking you a question, when you get thrown out of flow state, it's a big deal. So the idea that you can be back in it into deep focus, doing deep work, which is Cal Newton, one of my favorite books, which is Deep Work. The 4 hour deep work schedule is being able to do that. And I think this is fascinating. The main reason I wanted to talk about this at all is the fact that
Well,
there
hold
are
on.
devices. Go ahead.
Step that back because I don't think everyone knows what brown noise is. I mean, I've seen South Park, but what is brown noise? Is it
So the
like,
idea of
I know what white noise is.
this, yeah, that's the whole point. There's white noise, there's green noise, there's red noise, there's pink noise, and basically it's on the spectrum because there's colors on how you can actually look at waveforms. And brown noise is a specific type of, yeah, it's a pattern, right? Because I actually used to sleep with green noise. Uh, and basically, I don't do that as much anymore. I listen to like these quote unquote woo woo solfeggio frequency type things, with different types of things. But it's a static that can help relax you and also get you into a state where you can maximize your not your REM sleep, but your deep sleep, which having at least 30 to 90 minutes of deep sleep per night, I think is what's recommended, roughly around that, to get full sleep with your body. So anybody in the comments can debate me on that. I really don't know. That's just, for me, sleep is a luxury and one that I don't get that much of. I've been actively trying to combat that lately, doing some split sessions. So I try now to get like a hour to 2 hour nap sometime during the day or early evening, and then that helps me overall get more sleep overall. So I can get to roughly between 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep daily, because I don't get anywhere near that generally. So,
Me
um,
neither.
yeah. So basically, and I can certainly, I will share this in the comments for anybody who wants to know a little bit more about that. But for me, it's easier for me to. So when I was in college, so long ago, I would go.
Back in the
No, most people go
day.
to the library to study, right? I don't go to the library. I went to Perkins to study because it was so much easier for me to focus with constant noise as opposed to silence, and you can hear a
Silence.
pin drop and then things like distract you, right? So that's kind of on the same path as this, in my personal
Interesting.
opinion. So
Yeah, I don't like silence.
so I don't either. Silence is
It's
loud to
loud.
me.
Oh my
Yeah, silence
gosh.
is incredibly loud to
Jinx.
me.
But it
I know,
is.
right?
Is it there's an what is it? There's a perfectly silent room and people can't even stay in it for more than a few minutes. They start to hear
Yeah,
their own heartbeat and it drives them nuts.
it's called an anechoic chamber, right? So
Anechoic. Yes,
yeah,
that's
those
right.
the type of chambers
Ding
where
ding
it's just
ding
like
on
all
vocab.
rubber and foam and there's spikes everywhere, and it literally deadens anything in its path, like because of the distribution ratio and how it bounces
And it's
and absorbs
maddening
sound
to
waves.
stay in that
It's
room.
maddening. Yeah, I would go nuts hearing my blood flow. And stuff like that. Hearing the serotonin swish between my ears,
I'd
which
start
I
like
can hear.
smacking my lips and annoy myself with the sound of my lips smacking, which would make me smack my lips more. I'd like start to like get a panic attack or something. I can already feel
Oh,
it.
same. Like for me, I'm allergic to everything in this state. So I can just sit here and I can just have like a noise orchestra coming from my nose. And I would hear every single note of that, and that would drive me absolutely batty. Yeah, like half the time when I make content, I have to put a noise gate because if not, you'll hear. I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
nobody wants to hear
It's crypto time. Yeah.
Let's talk about self custody and DeFi and how you can be your own bank.
Yeah, right.
Quit,
Sorry, guys. We
quit.
really layered it on thick
I
here at
know
the
my
end.
nose will literally say secret messages. They'll be like, "I'll
Start
see a video
whistling.
tomorrow." The DeFi professor's nasal tunes contain ancient secrets from the old world.
His nose is off key.
It is. It's
Oh,
unfortunate.
poor Chris. His
I
nose is off
know.
key.
Pobrecito.
Yeah, we
Anyway,
always
this
end
has not
on the wacky note. We like to end with a little
exactly.
wackiness, don't we? We'll sprinkle on a little of the
We
zany
do.
sauce.
You know what? What I will do is I'll plug. So I'm also the strategic ops lead at On-Chain Media. Shout out to Rachel On-Chain
Okay,
and,
we got
and that
something
one
going
getting
on
the rest
today,
of our
right? A
team.
little bit.
We do
If
it
people
at
want some
5
more,
p.m. Eastern. We have a Twitter space today. Monday was the 2-year anniversary of On-Chain Media. So clap, clap, snaps for Rachel.
Rachel's
Way to
doing
go.
amazing work. I got to meet her in Vegas. Definitely tune
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Chris and Rachel
She's,
making power moves here.
I hope so. I hope so. The queen is doing queen stuff. So shout out to her.
Yeah, Chris got
And
knighted, as a
well, I'm
matter of
excited to
fact.
be
Yeah,
contributing to their success.
he's on the round
They're
table.
doing great. Yeah, well, technically I'm the hand of the queen, but
Wow.
regardless, Lannisters always pay their debts.
Technically, sir.
Technically, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Actually.
So yeah, join us for the X community call for them at 5 p.m. Eastern. You'll fancy it very much. It's wonderful.
Indeed.
With that said, indeed, hopefully Logan will be there. It'll be a good time. We'll just be
Unlikely.
talking
But tune in next
probably
week.
yeah, we'll reminisce about that, and then next week, of course, we'll be back with another great show.
I'll cut a
If I
handlebar
have,
mustache.
I'm hoping next week we'll have a really interesting guest. I just have
Ooh.
to kind of dot some i's and grab some people. So if there's someone you want
I
to see
talked
on the
to a couple
show,
people too. Yeah.
yeah, if there's someone you want to see on the
There's Mike
show, put it
McCollum.
down. We'll have a good time. I tried to get Mark back to play with us again, but soon, TM, soon he'll be here.
Thune! That's my favorite. I was
Well,
waiting for you to say Thune at some point during the whole thing. I'm like, God, say Thune, man. Say Thune so I can come in with my thing. And I'm glad we squeezed one in. Thanks, bud.
yeah, he's we hopefully get a vote in about 3 weeks.
Thune!
Thune.
He's got a great name to say. Just if you're at home,
Senator Thune, get the
loud.
closer vote out on the floor.
Come on, Thune. We're behind
Come
you,
on,
buddy. Let's
Thune.
push it.
Pray to Broden. All right,
All
guys.
right.
Have a great day.
wild.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here again. And thanks everybody. We had a lot of people tuned in today. Thank you so much for doing so. Hopefully you got some really good value out of this. We certainly, us Nebraska boys certainly love to have fun while we're here in the digital heartland talking about all this
Appreciate your
great stuff.
support and your likes
Appreciate your
and
support.
comments and all that fun stuff. We love interacting with you guys.
You know what? I forgot to play one here. Let me get, so Jules has mentioned that your cool shirt.
Yeah. Hey.
Show off
It's
them
not
goods,
bad.
buddy.
As long as you don't look at it too close, it's pretty cool. That's why I stay away from
Yeah,
the camera.
the moment you read the shirt, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's actually very uncool.
Very
just don't look
uncool.
too close.
There we
Just
go.
enjoy the Bitcoin logo there. There we are.
We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Stay safe. Beacons up. Banks down. I was thinking next time I could totally whisper but that would be weird. Yeah, that'd be super weird.
ASMR, baby.
We'll see you guys later. Have a great day. See
Take
ya.
care.